Esto está genial.
No me veo, pero te creo. Me tapa justo el lente a mí. Y te veo, está más. Igual, está bien. Está bien porque si no me conozco voy a estar tipo haciéndome ojitos a mí mismo durante una hora.
Eso.
Narcisista y vanidoso.
Hi everybody, my name is Andrés Taboada. Welcome to Local Foreigner.
Inmigrantes, expatriados, peruanos vivos americanos y de aquí ni hay un expatriado y no van por el net. Who's here in his own land?
Today's guest, Local Foreigner, is a singer, songwriter. He's a comedian and a storyteller. And when I say storyteller, you know, a lot of artists are called storytellers. We like to think of ourselves as storytellers, but he's a legit professional storyteller. He's won the Moth several times and competed on a national level, I would say. Is that correct?
No.
Not on a national level.
Always local. I wish.
He's competing on the local level, won a bunch of awards. And yeah, Traynor from Argentina. Is that correct?
Yes, from Argentina.
All right. Are you from Buenos Aires?
I'm from Buenos Aires. I'm porteño.
Porteño. Okay.
Nobody likes us in my country, but you know how it is.
No one does. I mean, you know, that's what unites, I think, South Americans, you know?
The hate for Chileans is what
Yes,
I learned.
and
That's what I
Argentina.
learned unites us more than anything. When I lived in Argentina, I was convinced that everybody hated us more than anybody. Then I moved here and I met a lot more Latin Americans, and we all collectively don't like Chileans. I love you though. I mean, it's like
Got it.
you know your cousin who like he has more
Yeah.
money than you. And
Yeah.
His family is a bit better for whatever reason, but like he's an asshole. Those are Chileans.
Got it. We were at war with Chile, but I don't think I've even met.
We almost were at war with Chile.
You were?
Almost.
Yeah. And but I don't think I have any Chilean friends. I don't think I've met any Chileans in the States in 25 years I've lived here. But I've met Argentinians, and I'm cool with Argentinians. But yes,
For now.
But yeah, some Peruvians like to talk shit about Argentinians sometimes. Which
Yeah,
is understandable.
And I
You guys
get
are
it.
whiter. You guys are white, and we don't like that.
I have been told to my face by other Latinos in the U.S. that I'm not white because you gringos. I hate saying Americans because I am a hard
You're
believer
exactly.
that America is the continent.
Exactly.
Make America the name of the continent again. It's my platform for my political campaign.
The political party, yeah.
And I have been told by gringos many times that you can't be white, you're a Latino. But like, and I get it, they don't get it. But like when Latinos in the U.S. are like, you can't be white, you're a Latino. I'm like,
Yeah.
did I change colors?
I think you're very, very white, actually.
I'm
Yeah.
very, very freaking white.
And
yeah.
your name is very white. Traynor. Where's
Frank,
that from?
I mean, Frank is, my name is Francisco.
I didn't know that.
My
Okay.
name is and actually, I was just telling you before this that my parents, they me Francisco, which by the way means free. Francisco means free. It's an amazing name to have, but they went with Pancho.
Yes.
You probably know this.
Because that's the common nickname for
It's
Francisco.
the common nickname for Francisco Pancho, but it's the way we call hot dogs in Argentina. I don't know if that's.
I did
the
see
same
this
thing
on
in Peru.
one of your videos.
Yeah, exactly. I tell this all the
did see
time. It's
this.
one of my openers.
Yeah.
And I hated that name my whole life, and then I moved here, and they started calling me Frank, which is also hot dogs in the U.S.
That's right.
So, and this is the joke that I told you. I don't think it has a translation for me to do it when I do shows in Spanish, but that's my burden. I cannot be free.
Yeah.
Basically.
No, that's the thing, because you were telling me about like doing stand-up in Spanish, and I would have to rewrite my whole act. Like, I mean, not that I do stand-up these days, but I used to. That's how we met.
Listeners and watchers, he should go back to stand-up.
Thank you so much. That's how we met. We met at the Funny and Foreign-Born the Glendale Comedy Festival. That's where
It wasn't the Glendale Comedy Festival.
Yes,
it was
for
the
sure.
Comic Comedy Festival.
But it was in Glendale.
Oh, yeah, it was in Glendale.
They call it the Glendale.
Yeah, it was a bringer festival. They tricked us.
Totally. Oh my God, we were in a huge theater, and I got excited.
Yeah.
And then they put the seats on the stage because
On the
it was like an empty theater with like 10 people watching, and then us performing. So
I actually saw the video of that performance recently because I was
my
looking for
God.
new clips.
Yeah.
They only gave us 3 minutes,
3 minutes each. Yeah.
and they had to be clean, which for me at the time was difficult. Now I am much cleaner.
Yeah.
And you won. He won,
you.
by the way, that festival.
I did. I think it was $50. Yeah.
$50?
$100. It was $100.
Which
So
with
that was
inflation
great.
today would be what, 1,000?
Yeah. So that was great. So I won. That was it. And they did a bunch of those. I don't know if they're still doing it, but that's how we met.
It was the only one they did.
Huh?
It was the only one they did.
Yeah, like here, but they did a bunch in Florida.
Oh, really?
That's where I know them from too. Like I know them from all the way from Florida, and it's these brothers. I'm not even gonna say their name.
No.
I'm not. I don't want
We
to.
just call them bringers,
Yeah.
scammers, and like let's not say their names.
Yeah.
Bleep the name of the festival.
And,
man.
yeah, I will. Trust me. is gone. I'm not gonna say that. You look so different back then. You had like
Yeah.
you had like kind of like a Charlie Garcia look a little bit, kinda.
Maybe.
You had like a hat,
Yeah.
lentes,
Yeah.
mustache, beard.
yeah.
Different dude.
So
Why
an
is that?
obsession that I have with my looks that I don't do as much anymore, but I do it every once in a while still, is that I change the way that I look completely every 6
Yes.
months.
You do.
If you go to my social media
No,
and you
you
scroll
do.
through my photos,
Yeah.
I look very different, which I think it's fun.
Yes.
And it's also my obsession with my looks. I'm very narcissist in that sense.
Yeah. Well, I think the fact that I can admit it makes you less of a narcissist. I think.
Thank you. My therapist never called me that. He did call me a little bitch once.
Yeah, nice.
but-
Mine call me fat.
Oh,
I'm like, my optometrist also did. So I'm like, dude,
Well,
not your area.
when you met me, actually, my daughter had been born not too long before that, and I just gave up for a while, and
Yeah.
I gained a lot of weight, and that
But you
was
look
my
good.
chubbier.
You look good. Also,
Thank you.
You're
You
thin,
too.
you're thin. So
Now I am.
You gaining weight is like
Yeah. No, when I gain weight, I mostly gain a dad bod. Basically, my belly gets huge, and a friend of mine in Argentina once called me a liquid paper. I don't know if that translates
Claro que
to
sí.
Americans very well,
Yeah.
but like it's thin with like it was like a pregnant
Yeah.
straw, sort of.
Oh, got it.
looked
Because
like.
liquid paper to us is the whiteout. We call
Exactly.
it whiteout.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get it though. Why liquid paper? I still don't
Because
get
the liquid paper pen was like a pen with a belly.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes. I know the one you're talking about now.
You know what I mean? Because you press it and the liquid comes
That's
out,
right. That's right.
and that's
right.
what it looked like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll put a visual aid so that people can understand what we're talking about.
Not sponsored. Not a sponsor of the
No, that's
podcast.
no. Off brand. So that's how we met. And okay, again, so Frank Traynor then is. I got Frank. What about Traynor?
Traynor is Irish.
Uh-huh.
That's on my mom's side. My dad's last name I stopped using pretty much when I moved to the U.S. 12 years ago, because my dad's last name is Swiss German, and I'm already Argentinian, so the German
That's
part.
problematic.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know exactly what. I went to German school. I've told you that many times.
Yeah. So I did.
you
I
go to
mean, I
German
stopped
school?
using it mostly because what?
Do you go to German school?
No, I went to a Marist school, which is like a French.
Maristas.
Yeah.
My dad did too. in
Oh
Peru,
yeah.
Champagnat. So-
Yeah, that is my
Yeah?
school, Champagnat.
Shut up.
Champagnat. If you want to
Champagnat.
pronounce it with the way my mom pronounced it, I never pronounce it like
What does
that.
Maristas mean?
It's like fans of Mary, basically. It's like
Got it.
they're
That's
like huge
crazy,
fans
like-
of Mary and like the Virgin Mary.
So you went to the whatever brother school? I don't know what
yes,
it's called.
brothers. They're called brothers. Yeah.
Yeah, because my mom went to Sagrado Corazon, and they're all called sister schools, right? Sacred Heart. So that's insane. Yeah. Did you read Vargas Llosa?
What?
Vargas Llosa.
The writer.
Yeah. Because he has that, what's it called, Los Cachorros, is it? And it takes place in the Champagnat as well.
Oh, really?
But in Peru. So it was my dad's school that he's talking about.
Interesting.
About the one guy, Pichulita Cuellar, he gets his dick bit off by a dog. You know what I'm talking about? Okay.
I haven't read.
Yeah, I've
Vargas
read like
Llosa,
3
if I'm
books.
being honest.
I've read like 3 books. That's one of them. So
I mostly stayed with the Argentinian writers, Cortázar,
Got it.
Borges.
Oh my God.
Very
he's-
local.
Yeah, and I know about him. And he has what's it, that book? Rayuela, I think.
Rayuela.
I've never read it.
Hopscotch.
I bought it and I want to be
It's
cool.
a very long book. It takes a long time, and then you can read it in whatever. It's like the OG Choose Your Own Adventure.
Exactly.
If
That's
you think
what I've
about
heard.
it.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
But I didn't know that the first time that I read it, I knew that there were several ways to read it, but one is just reading it like.
Yeah.
And I did that, and it was so long that by the time I was like, no, I can go and read it. I was like, no, I'm moving on to a different
I
book.
mean,
This
my friend
took
told me
forever.
if you read it, you might read it the first time and not get it. I'm like, dude, even when I get it, I don't want to read it. So forget it. I'm just not gonna even try. Borges, is that you guys? Borges? No.
Borges is us.
Yeah, and that's
yeah.
another one. Again, this was in the early 2000s when I was trying to read or whatever.
To be an intellectual.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was trying to be an
Yeah.
intellectual, and my friend was studying literature, and he introduced me to all these writers, and I was like, dude, I hate reading. So
There's a the type of women that I like, or when I was young at least, like being a pseudo intellectual like that who reads was like they were into it. So I'm not gonna lie, I read a lot of those books to have material to use when
You
I was
did?
talking to women.
Nice.
I didn't pay off at all ever.
yeah.
Maybe once or twice, but not even.
Did you read Pablo Neruda. People were still.
No,
I never did.
He's Chilean.
I never
so-
did. I get it. That tracks. That tracks.
No, I read some. It's not the kind of poetry that I enjoy. Again, Cortázar, I think I love his poetry, but no, I never got into Neruda.
Got it. I'm just pretending. I've never read poetry in my life, other than being a child and reading like a children's book.
I dated
Dr. Seuss.
I dated a lot of the women that I dated were poets.
No
so,
way.
Yeah.
You know, my grandmother was a poet.
Oh,
too,
really?
In Peru. Yeah.
Like a famous poet in Peru, or like
She was a name, and then my mom would do interpretive dancing, and she would dance to poems, and then she became.
Wait,
like,
how do you dance to poems? Wait a second.
Yeah. It was
Like somebody reads and you dance, because like it's not music.
somebody recites a poem, and she would like dance to it. And that's how I ended up casting her in my
Is your
movie.
mama hippie?
She was pretty bohemian, yeah, and my grandma too, and that's how my mom ended up being in my movie, because it was like her comeback. She gave it up completely,
Nice,
So,
nice.
were your parents artists at all?
No, my dad. The way that I always describe my dad is my dad was like Don Draper with the sense of humor of John Hamm. But no, he couldn't sing or dance or write or anything.
But a funny dude.
Yeah,
Charismatic.
Yeah, very charismatic. Very,
dad too,
yeah, a good
yeah.
drunk, like a fun
good
drunk.
drunk. My dad was not a
he
good
would,
drunk.
He would like he was
would
like
like
my first
hit us.
comedian in my life in a way, because he and his friends would get drunk and then start telling jokes. But like story type of jokes, it's very like an American thing, like 3 Jews walk into a bar, whatever type of
Street jokes, they call it
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
And they would kick me out of the room because I wasn't old enough, I guess, to hear them. But I would hear, the other side of the door, and like my dad would get a lot of laughs. My dad was a very funny guy, and my mom, she wanted to be an artist. I know that for a fact because
did.
she was very artistic. But like women like that who were born in the 40s in Argentinian,
Your mom was born in the 40s?
My dad was born in the 30s and my mom in 1940.
Okay, so let me see what I can get right by you saying that. So in my mind, that means, so they're older than my parents, but we're around the same age. I'm 42. How old
I'm
are you?
42 too.
Yeah, that's crazy. That means that you have siblings that are older than you, much older than you.
Yeah, 6.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me all that. How was your childhood? Because I've known you for a very long time.
Yeah, but we never really had this conversation.
No.
We always had like comedy club conversations.
Also, it's supposed to be like hi, and then congrats.
Good set. I just fucking bombed.
That's it. And that was like, the last time I saw you in person was probably 8 years ago.
At Graffiti, when you did Graffiti the last
Yes,
time, I think.
yes.
Graffiti was my show.
And then, Graffiti in the Arts District,
Yes.
right?
No, when you did it was in the Mid-City Art House. In the
That's
Mid-City.
what it was. Great show, by the way. And you had a lot of
great show.
Argentinian friends come out, or whatever, Latin friends. I don't know if they were Argentinian or not.
A mix. A nice mix.
You know what's crazy? Like, we want to think that we don't all know each other, because that's weird, right? But we do, though. Because you told me where you worked, and I was like, oh, I know an Argentinian in that field. And I was like, do you know this guy? And I'm like, he's sitting right next to me.
Who was that?
We'll bleep it, but it's Martin.
Martin.
Yeah.
Martin. I call him exactly it's Martin because again, Irish Argentinian.
Yeah. That's true. Oh my God, that's right.
There's a lot of Irish in Argentina. A lot of Irish.
Really?
Yep. In fact,
Yeah.
when I was so back to wait, my
Yeah, sorry.
my
I wanna
parents,
get all over the
my
place,
dad
yeah.
was born in like 37 or 39 around 37. Yeah, my mom in 1940, and then they got married very young because my mom got pregnant.
Was very young.
21.
21.
Which for today is
Which
very
is
young, I guess, in
fine,
those
it's
days.
fine.
But my mom was very pregnant.
God,
Like they didn't get married because like they'd
That
been
was a
together.
no-no. That was a no-no.
They started dating in high school. I know that, and they got married at 21. My mom was 21. My dad was like 24 because my mom got totally pregnant. She never admitted
By
it.
him, right?
Yeah. My sister looks like my dad for sure.
Yeah.
Look, my sister is also dead. Everybody dies young in my family. That's something
Oh my God.
we can bring later.
We can get into that whenever you want.
Yeah,
I do want to know about this.
And then because they were too Catholic and too horny, as I always put it, they had 6 children very quickly, without having the money to support them. Because my dad was still in med school.
And that's a very Irish thing too, by the way.
And
Irish
Argentinian and Catholic, like it's a weird mix of horny people that don't know how to stop having sex.
Conan O'Brien, same thing. Six siblings
Yeah,
total.
yeah.
So he was in med school, and then what happened?
My dad was in med school, but then like he had 6 kids, and I mean, if anybody is a doctor watching this, or if you know how it goes, you can't go to med school and have 6 children.
No, you can't.
You can't. So he had to give up med school and started working for a pharmaceutical company in Argentina. So sort of like sideways connected to health and whatnot. And then 11 years after the 6th one, and again, this is part of my show, because but they had no money, so they moved to a new town outside of Buenos Aires where they could afford a place to live called Berazategui. At the time, Berazategui was new. There was nothing. It was like the projects in a way, like a bunch of like shoebox apartment buildings that all looked the same in the middle of nowhere. They had no TV, no telephone, no nothing. And my dad drove my siblings to school in the city every day.
Yeah. Well, so what did he do for work then, your dad?
He worked in the pharmaceutical company called Roemers, which is German, in Buenos Aires. And he was in the marketing department, but he ended up working for the cardiology department and whatnot, which means that I grew up with a lot of free drugs from a very young age, which is how it ended up being my pastime. We had a closet in our hallway in our apartment where we had basically a pharmacy.
Okay.
And anything I needed,
Just
it
for
would
his
just
clients?
open it and get it. Huh?
He was saving it for his clients or for himself?
No, it was like the free samples that the doctor gives you. That's what my dad brought home.
And he had everything, Vicodin, Xanax,
everything. The version of my dad's company where he worked. But we had like a anxiety medication that my mom would give me when I couldn't sleep at like 9. So I've been a huge fan of drugs my whole life.
What anxiety medication was that? If you don't mind
it
me
was
asking.
called Plidan was the name in Spanish.
Okay.
Whatever the brand. I mean, I don't know exactly what was in it, but my mom would give me
I had
a pill.
anxiety growing up too. You know, like I will make myself vomit every morning so I wouldn't have to go to school. Didn't care about losing weight or anything. It wasn't like a thing like that, but it was like an anxiety thing. I just hated. I was the smallest one in my class, and I just didn't want to go to school.
You were the smallest one in your. I mean, I was the biggest one in my class, but I'm still like
you are.
It changed for you.
Yeah. I was the smallest one and youngest one in my class, and now I'm like one of the tallest. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, so weird.
So they moved to this new city, and my mom was alone all day. Again, in a new town, no phone, no TV. She had nothing to do all day, so she got super depressed.
Oh man.
And my dad got her a cat. And that didn't work out, so my mom got my dad drunk, and she got pregnant. And it's funny because like my whole life I've been told that I'm an accident. Like, you're an accident. Like, you were the unexpected baby after so many years. Yeah, by a lot of years, by 11 years.
Got it.
Everybody in my family was like almost like 2 years apart, and then 11 years.
Got it. So
my mom.
Just to get this right. Sorry.
No.
Just to get this right, your mom got your dad drunk so she could have company.
No, so she could get pregnant. She could get pregnant. Like,
got it.
You know what? We're having had sex in 11 years. Tonight is the night that I'm getting a pet that I can talk to.
Got it. That's what
the way that I always put it is like she needed something she can root emotionally for real, because the cat was like, no,
the cat doesn't give a shit.
The cat was not gonna give a shit.
Yeah.
My mom always was like, every time somebody would be like, you were an accident, I was like, you were not. You were planned. And then eventually I realized that she meant you were planned just by me.
Yes.
My dad told the accident. Yeah.
So here's the thing. I've watched one video of you as a child, which is you have like a cast on your arm.
Yes.
It's your birthday.
Yes.
They sing you happy birthday. Somebody I think puts a finger on it or something. Like they do this thing. And you are like, you turn it around, smash it on the table, and start punching it with your cast.
Yes.
So tell me about your emotional
problems. That story. I don't know when this is coming out, but like that story is coming out
before your thing. So yeah.
Yeah, but this story in particular is coming out on the Risk podcast next week. I don't know if I can mention on the podcast here.
Please.
But so my best friend Mariano, who is still my best friend to this day, or one of my best friends, I guess. I have anger issues, like a lot of men raised in our decades.
By angry men,
straight Latino men, a lot of anger. And my birthday to me was always like my own personal Christmas, my own birth of the Son of God, as I put it, because ego, narcissism, and it was really important to me, especially the happy birthday moment, because it was all about me. For 30 seconds, like the entire world was about me.
I hated it.
Which again, I say the youngest of 7, born so many years after everybody else, like I was so used to everything being about me. So that special moment was very special.
Oh, as the youngest of six kids.
Of 7, yeah.
Yeah, 7. So you're the 7th.
Yeah, which Mariano is a similar situation. He's the youngest of 6, I think, in his case, or 5. But he's also Mariano. I'm going to send him this episode because he now feels very guilty.
Mariano.
30 years later, he feels very guilty about all this, and I love making him feel like shit. So every time that I can, the year before that. Mariano liked pushing my buttons because he was that guy, the best friend that pushes your buttons. And he knew that I got angry really easily. And the year before that, when everybody was singing happy birthday, he started using the F in feliz cumpleaños, in que lo cumpla feliz, to blow the candles a little bit. And everybody was like, this is a lot of fun. So everybody joins in with him. And that first time I was like, I gave him a look and I flipped the cake like don't fucking ruin this for me right now. And he got it. But what he got was, I have a lot that I can do with this. So he waited a whole year to come back and do it better. So in the video that you saw, which is on my Instagram, he's doing it again. And that time I had a cast, which this is a thing that I don't tell too often, but I'm going to tell it right now. The cast that I had was because I got in a fight during a football game, a soccer game. And I punched the guy. Because you know how they say if you punch first, you punch twice?
Yes.
But you have to punch with your good hand. I punch him with my left hand. I'm righty. So I broke my hand against the guy's face.
Wait, not as a jab. Not as a jab. You did a cross.
Yeah, I don't know how to fight. As you can clearly see, I can't.
Well, you can be like, I don't know, Peso Pluma. Who knows? You know?
I went to this guy's face. I break my wrist against his face. So I ended up having that cast. And when Mariana starts blowing my candles and everybody joins in, as you can see in the video, I lose my shit.
Yeah.
And I if you see, I first like slap all the candles out of the cake, and then I start hitting it with the cast, and then I pick it up in there and I throw it on the floor, and I storm off to the bathroom to cry.
Okay.
They did pick up the cake. Something you don't see in the video is that they did pick up the cake.
That's what I was asking.
Because it was, by the way, I was celebrating that birthday with my other friend Martin, whose birthday is the day before mine. So we always had parties together. And they pick up the cake and they try to save it. I think nobody ate it, but while I was crying in the bathroom, Facundo, one of the guys in my class,
I love the names. They're
really
also
nice.
classic Argentinian names.
Yeah. Shows up in the bathroom with like a piece of stumped cake, and it's like, dude, it's really good. I was like, you're the fucking nicest guy ever. Why do we all bully you?
He's a good friend. I like Mariano.
Good guy.
Fuck you, man.
Yeah, Mariano. Fuck you, Mariano.
Where's Mariano now?
Mariano is in Buenos Aires. He's a lawyer. Mariano quit. So we started playing music together. We had bands for many years together when we were in high school. And then we started a band after high school. And then one day he comes and goes like, I just want you to know that like my main thing is I want to be a lawyer. And I was like, lame. Lame. Yeah. So I dissolved that band and started it again a couple months later with a different name and a new drummer.
What was it called? What was the band original name?
So the band with him was called The Bonds. Spelled B-A-W-N-S, because the neighborhood in Ireland where I stayed a couple of times when I studied in Ireland was called Old Bon. So and that's where I met the band that influenced my music the most in those years, which is Oasis.
Wow! Oh my God, I can see
it. The haircut and
my God,
Adidas.
So obvious. Yeah. That's crazy.
And the jacket that I have there.
Yeah. Nice jacket.
And then I restarted the band a couple of months later with the name Flashbacks, which is an Oasis song, by the way.
Yeah, got it.
But I replaced Mariana with another drummer who ended up being the Paul McCartney and my John Lennon until very recently.
Were you always the frontman of all your bands?
With the Bonds, with Mariano, the frontman was another guy. But again, when I restarted the band, I was like, I want to be the frontman myself.
Yeah.
That guy's Daniel. Sorry if you're listening to this. Yes, I just, instead of kicking you guys out of the band, I just was like, let's dissolve this band and come back in a couple months with the same people except you two and two replacements.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
And Flashbacks was the band. That's Flashbacks. That's the logo.
Oh, wow. So you got it tattooed at what age?
This one I got. So here's the thing. I never got a tattoo, and I never wanted a tattoo until I met my wife, who was a tattoo artist. That's funny. And I was like, free tattoos. I love free shit.
Got it. Yeah.
And the first one that I got was this one that you can't see because it's invisible.
Is it white?
And
ink?
it's not even a joke. It's a white.
It's white ink.
Celtic cross.
I
the
see
Irish
it.
cross.
Yeah, I think it's a. Is that a swastika? What is that?
No, it's a.
It's Argentinian. You know?
Argentinian jokes. No, it's a Celtic cross. It's the Irish cross. Which it's funny because St. Patrick took the pagan symbol of the sun and turned it into a cross by extending the bottom part.
Oh, wow.
And that way he was like, your religion, my religion, it's all the same. But if you don't follow mine, I'm going to fucking kill you.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, the founder of my clan in Ireland,
your family clan.
Yeah, the Traynors. You know how in Ireland...
Yeah, I was just
not like, it's not what the cave is.
Yeah. I'm like, then this guy goes deep.
So Traynor, our clan is MacThremfir, I think that's how we pronounce it.
You have a family crest and all that? Really?
Yep, we have a Facebook group.
No way.
With thousands of members. And
what's it called again?
Traynor. I think it's pronounced McTrenfir.
Okay.
It might be my pronunciation might be
'Cause they
wrong
have-
because
yeah.
McTrenfir maybe
Yeah,
I
yeah,
never
they're
know how to
little-
pronounce
they're a little off.
Irish names like that.
Yeah.
We have a Facebook group and we have reunions in Ireland every couple of years. I haven't been to one yet, but I'm dying to go one year.
Very cool.
I lost my train of thought. With
Sorry,
that,
you
'cause
were,
oh yeah, the founder of our clan, Saint McKenna, was Saint Patrick's right hand as a local who would go with him to the castles around Ireland, being the translator for if you don't convert to Catholicism, we're gonna kill you all. Because Saint Patrick's was not the kicking the snakes out of Ireland story is just the way, just the Catholics imposing their religion in Ireland.
I see.
Like the Jesuits in South America.
I see.
It's just Catholics murdering people
Inter-
around
yeah,
the
they're
world.
so good at it. They're really
Such a good religion.
Yeah, it's great. Were you raised Catholic? I was.
Very much.
Yeah,
Very
I
Catholic.
went to Catholic boarding school and everything. When I went
Yeah. The German one, right?
Yeah, the German one. And growing up, I was always in Catholic school. I mean, school was just Catholic school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't meet anybody who wasn't Catholic until I was like 23, and I started working in advertising.
Yeah.
I was like, "You're Jewish? That's weird."
Yeah. I think when we were in Peru and we had the whole class did the first communion, there were two people. One guy had an atheist dad, and one guy had a evangelical dad, something else, and they didn't get to participate, and it was like a whole thing. We sent signatures to his parents so they could join the first communion. It was so crazy. And then when I went to Catholic boarding school in Germany, that's the first time I met non-Catholic people. So they just went to boarding school.
And then I became an atheist very quickly.
That shit made me not Catholic anymore. Right away.
Very quickly,
Very
quickly.
And I really wasn't. I walked out of my confirmation. I walked out. I was like,
my confirmation was supposed to be done by the now former Pope.
Oh, really?
Bergoglio was
That's
the
crazy.
Archbishop or whatever of Buenos Aires, and that is the one that confirms, locally. And but that day he was sick. He had a date with a kid or something, I guess. I was like, I have been waiting to date this kid for forever, and I'm not gonna cancel that tonight. I don't know. But somebody else came. But my wife, she has the photo with Bergoglio.
Wow.
Doing the thingy on her head.
Damn. You met your wife in Argentina?
Yes.
Okay.
And through my band.
By the way, the band the band you were at when I met you was the
Only for Robots.
Only for Robots. That's correct. Yeah.
That was the band that I started here for a couple of years to play my first solo album.
Yes, which you came out with, and is that done or?
When I moved to Washington State, I
That's
dissolved that band, and then during the pandemic, I got back together with Flashbacks to do music remotely.
Yeah.
But most have been doing music on my own and releasing albums on my own.
I saw that you were, I think, in your basement in Seattle, and you were wearing a poncho. That's Flashbacks, right?
No, that is my solo music. In fact, in that band, the bassist is my wife.
I saw her, yes. So she's a musician too?
Yeah, the drummer. She comes from a family of musicians, which means she has a lot of, she's not really a musician, but music comes really easily to her. So if you give her an instrument and you tell her what to play, she will play it in 2 seconds. Right now she's learning how to play piano, and she's started like a month and a half ago, and she's like eating piano books like there's no tomorrow, like just going at the speed of light learning piano.
Cool.
I'm like, dude, you're going to be better than me in a minute. Oh my God, my afraid masculinity. The drummer in that video is her brother, which is how her brother played with me in Argentina. And that's how we met. I tend to date my guitarist sisters.
Is that how it works?
Yes.
How does you guys stop? How does that affect your friendship?
Okay, so the first guitarist whose sister I dated, he quit the band immediately. And that's how my wife's brother joined the band, and then I met my wife.
Wow. And it's like, bro, you're just waiting for it to happen.
But the guy that left the band, the second that his sister and I was going to say quit, broke up, which we broke up like 4,000 million times. But when it was like over, we became friends right away again. And we're still best friends still. Like he was like, okay, you're done with my sister, I'm back. We can get back together as friends.
How did you meet your wife through your band? Oh, no, sorry. You just told me you met it because she was
her brother joins the band, and he also had a cute sister, basically. And I had just broken up with the other one. So
how old were you when you met her?
My wife, 26, 27.
Okay, so
it's funny because I knew her brother for many years and I knew her for many years, but like she was just like, "Hey, your sister is so cute," like jokes.
All my friends did that.
And then
too,
at like 26 or 27 is when we actually started dating.
Yeah. So we've been together for a long time.
16 years.
Yeah. 16. And married for 16 years or together overall?
I don't know how many years we've been together, married, because we don't believe in marriage like that. We think that marriage is a legal contract with the government. So we got married twice.
Yes.
with my wife. The first time was the civil union. That's the first ring here, because she needed health insurance through my job because hers didn't give her.
Here?
In Argentina.
In Argentina, okay.
And the second time we got married was because we were moving here, and
Yes.
she needed to be married to me to get the spouse visa.
Yeah,
She hates
the fiancé
that
visa
thing.
or whatever?
Yeah.
Was it a fiancé visa first?
Of spouse, because we were married already.
Oh, that's right. Got it. Got it.
Which is why she couldn't work when we moved here. She was just a spouse.
Yeah.
She hates that, and
She
I get
does?
it.
Like
Yeah.
you don't like to call each
No,
other.
no,
my
no.
wife,
She
my
hates
husband?
that she got a spouse visa, because it was like, what am I, like some sort of like Christmas ornament on your tree? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just
And
here.
you're like-
I'm his spouse. I'm
Yeah.
staying home, and like he was to work. She hated that, and I get it. I totally get it.
Why did she not do tattooing here?
Because most of her work as a tattoo artist was micropigmentation, permanent makeup. You know, women that get like, it's mostly women, the eyebrows, or like the contour of the lips, or like fake moles or whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of those clients that she had in Argentina were a lot of like rich ladies, old ladies that were very rude and whatnot. So she got a bad experience doing that for like 10 years.
How did
So-
you get a visa to come here?
Me?
Yeah.
Advertising. So my
Yeah.
job in advertising.
Is that okay, by the way? 'Cause it's
Yeah.
about-
So I'm an advertising creative. I don't like saying copywriter because I don't just write. I don't write. Writing copy is like the least of the things that I do. It's ideas that I work on.
Yes.
A lot of TV commercials, but a lot of like ideas of other kinds. And I want like
It's interesting that you say your dad had a sense of humor of John Hamm and you're working advertising. That's interesting.
and he was like Don Draper. He was a
Yes.
very Don Draper. When I watched Mad Men, like I saw my dad in Don Draper many
Yeah.
times, especially the leaving late and coming back drunk, spending off other women.
Got it.
What?
But he was in marketing. You said
He
for a
was in
little bit.
marketing, but not a creative. He was like the marketing manager.
Yeah. And
that
you-
would be called a CMO, I guess.
I have no
Like they have new
idea.
names,
I
and like
would
my.
not-
But
You're
it's funny because
asking
my
the
dad never
least-
had the money of a CMO. Like he never
Yeah.
owned an apartment. He never owned anything.
Yeah.
He was always in debt. So
Well, that's pretty amazing because normally people that come here with a visa is because, I mean, you have to justify to the American government that we need this position and only this person can fill it. Therefore,
I got the O1 visa.
So how does that work? Why do you think
So
you got it?
I
Like-
wanted to. My wife and I, something we had in common when we met is we want to get the heck out of Argentina because you know how South America works. And advertising, there's a lot of there's the Hispanic market of advertising in the U.S. They usually bring Argentinians. Sometimes it's like soccer.
Yeah.
The really good ones go to Europe.
Yeah.
The mediocre ones come to the U.S. because it's easy money. So for a couple of years with my creative partner at the time, we dedicated our lives to winning a ton of awards internationally so that we
Yeah.
could justify the visa.
Yeah.
That's how I got the O1 visa.
Got it.
The Alien with Extraordinary Abilities visa.
Damn,
which
you're
puts-
the first person I've ever met who's got
it's
that.
the thing that one of the things that I have in common with Superman.
Yeah? How's that?
Alien with Extraordinary Abilities. That's
Oh, yeah.
the visa is called Alien with Extraordinary Abilities.
Really?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
is
the O1
hilarious. That would be a
visa.
hilarious name for, a one-man show, first of all.
It is one of my stories if you go to YouTube,
Yeah.
but you can find it. It's called 3 Things in Common with Superman.
Yeah, that's amazing. And by the way, I'm going to say this because I don't want to forget it, so I'm going to add it to the beginning. But when is your show? Tell me everything about your show. Because I don't
My solo show.
Yeah.
So I'm doing my first solo show called The Real Man at the Hudson Theater Guild this June as part of the Hollywood Fringe Festival. The preview, which is like the pre-launch of the show, is on Saturday, June 7th at 4:30 p.m. No, 6:30 p.m. And then I have the 14th, the 28th, and I think the 21st, which would be for...
Yeah.
It's different times always. So
Yeah.
the easiest thing would be just go to franktraynor.com and all the information is there.
Cool.
I'm doing 5 shows. It's my first time doing an hour like that, and it's driving me insane.
Yeah, no, it's your life now. So we'll get there. And then I just did not want to miss that.
Yeah.
So when did you start? So you were a musician in Argentina. When did
Yes.
you start performing, like stand up or?
So I was a musician most of my life in Argentina with advertising as my day job to pay bills. And toward the end of my life in Argentina, stand-up comedy became pretty popular. It wasn't really a thing at all. I think Peru was the same. It's the same.
No,
like
Peru
most
is
of Latin America.
relatively new. I think 2010 is the first time I saw
Exactly.
a stand-up show on YouTube from Peru. Yeah.
And it started getting pretty big. And then one night, I always the first time that I did a comedy show technically was when I was 10 years old. I spent an entire summer in Miramar, which is a beach city in Buenos Aires, in the province of Buenos Aires. And every night I went to the city center to see this clown duo doing a routine on the street performers.
We call them cómicos ambulantes. What do you guys call it?
Artistas callejeros.
Artistas callejeros, yeah. Because that was the closest thing I knew to stand up. And it was always, again, a guy saying like, two guys walking to a bar.
No, this was more like clown.
Okay,
this was clown.
Like actual clown with a, yeah.
And I saw it every night for 30 days.
Yeah.
Never putting any money in their hat because I was only 10
Yeah.
or 9 actually at the time. And
how were you able to just walk and watch these people?
It's just on the street. They're just on the.
But you could go on your own without your mom and your dad at that age.
Yeah, it was a very different time.
Different time. No, I mean,
so Miramar was always known as the city of children.
Is it a beach town or not?
It is.
Yeah, that's
it's near Mar del Plata. For those of you who maybe know Buenos Aires, it's like maybe an hour from Mar del Plata, like 50 kilometers from Mar del Plata. So, it's always been known as the city of children because. It's just filled with kids just riding bikes from a very young age everywhere. It was always very safe. It's not anymore, unfortunately. I heard from my sisters who go with their kids.
You can't do that anymore.
That it's not. That thing is sort of gone because safety in Argentina became a huge thing.
Yeah.
But I grew up just like every summer we would go there for a month and get my bike and like see my parents back home a month later because like I didn't see them. Like it was just kids living their own life at a very young age. So I was with a friend that summer, and we would go every night to see these performers, which we ended up learning the entire routine, my friend and I, and it was a duo. And we always would do it among ourselves, just joking. And then one day we were coming back from PE in the school bus, and the PE teacher sort of heard about us doing that or whatever, and he was like, "Would you like to do that for the entire class on the bus on the ride back?" And we're like, "Well, sure." So we did the entire routine for our classmates on the bus on the way back from the place where we had PE to our school. And I always loved making people laugh. But then when I had to choose, you know how it is, like choose one thing, because if you're doing everything, el que mucho abarca poco aprieta, we say in Argentina. If you do too much, you can't do it at all. Whatever. I don't know how to translate that. It's a hard thing to translate.
I think their version will be like the Master of None. What is it called?
Something like that. Exactly. Master of None. Whatever.
I'm forgetting completely.
Así Sansari and women. Whatever. So I dedicated my life mostly to music. I wanted to be a director, a film director.
Oh, really?
But my dad was like, "I'm not paying for film school. You go to get a real job." Which is how I ended up working in advertising. It was like, okay, what is a creative work that I can do where I can still, shoot things and write things and shoot things that are funny, but still get my dad's approval. So I started doing music, and then the second my dad died, I was like, goodbye, real job, and I went to Berkeley. Berkeley, the music school.
The
Argentinian franchise, which was not the same, but it was still like Berkeley subsidized or whatever. I only lasted 1 year. It was very jazz focused, and I'm not a jazz. I love jazz, but I don't have the fingers to play jazz. So I took what I needed from that, and I went back to working in advertising, and I kept having the band, and then I always loved comedy. Comedy started becoming a thing in Argentina, and then I went to see Felix Buenaventura, who is one of the big comedians in Argentina, who I freaking love. Great guy too. And he was doing a show in English actually for tourists, because I couldn't find any shows in Spanish yet. They were doing shows in English for tourists.
How old were you at this point?
26, 27.
Okay. And you had never done stand-up yet?
Never. The only time that I had done comedy was that and the comedy movies that I shot when I was a kid with my sister's camera at home.
Cool.
And I was like, holy crap, I love this. I want to do this. And I started taking some classes, but while taking the classes, my opportunity to move here came up, and I did like 2 showcases the night before flying to LA. So I only did those 2 shows, which were now I know they were horrible, really bad.
So no open mics at that point?
In Argentina, there were no open mics then, and there barely are now.
Yes.
Open mics are like shows.
But compared to Peru, Argentina has way more going on comedy-wise. So like open mics, same thing in Peru. In Peru, what people do, I don't know if they still do it, but what they did as far as I know, is like you take a class,
Yes.
un taller,
Yes.
and at the end of the class there's a showcase.
Yes.
And that's how the people do it. It's not.
Yes.
And then there's showcases, but there's not really an open mic scene.
Open mics don't
Yeah.
work like they do. They're like booked shows where you
Yeah,
try
yeah.
new material, and they're called like open mic, and it's like a booked show where they charge people to see it, and it's like, guys, that's a show.
That's a show. Yeah.
That's not
It's
an open mic.
at
An open
all.
mic is showing up to a depressing
No,
bar
exactly.
with 35 people who hate you, and they're not paying attention to you, and like
I
if you
miss
get
that.
a chuckle, you know that's a good joke. Getting a chuckle at an open mic, it's an applause break at a real show.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is why honestly I don't go to open mics.
No?
Still. I go every once in a while. Like I try new material at like dive bar shows where like there's a small audience. That's where I try new material because like open mics are depressing.
Yeah. No, they are.
And you know what? Which open mics I like? Open mics run by women tend to be much friendlier and nicer, and people actually care and they pay attention to you. So
I mean, I haven't done it in a long time, but there was Ali Lou used to run a really good one, Irish Times in Culver City. I loved hers. Hers was awesome. Yeah. And then Julia Austin was running the West Side Comedy Theater at one point, and who knows? But yeah. I've had good experiences, bad experiences. Open mics suck, of course.
They suck.
Yeah, they're terrible. But what was I going to ask you? Damn. Never mind. I'll think about it later.
So so when I got here, I started doing comedy when I got here.
Yes, that's what it was. Sorry. Sometimes I remember weird shit just because it just makes an impression on me. And tell me if I'm making this up.
Yeah.
I feel like your first comedy connection here was Lou Perez, and you asked him if he knew of any book shows in Spanish in LA. Is that crazy or not?
It's half true.
Yeah. That's his name,
Thank
right?
you for saying Lou Perez, because Lou says Perez because he's a freaking
my
half-blood
God. Gross.
gringo.
Yeah.
And they say Perez here, like, come on, Perez. It's not so hard to say Perez. Lopez, Perez, like,
Claro.
those sound the same. If you can say Lopez, you can say Perez. Lou had a show called Uncle Lou's Safe Space at the good old, now defunct, Echoes Under the Sunset.
Echoes Under Sunset,
And that's where I did my first show. I moved to LA, and like two weeks later, I was doing that show.
But why did you contact him?
Because
of Perez?
I don't know how I found out he was half Argentinian. Like his dad is Argentinian.
I
Or
thought he's
was.
Cuban.
Maybe he's dead.
I thought
No,
he was Cuban.
Argentinian.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lou and I watched the World Cup in 2014 together because he needed to watch it with Argentinians. And he's from New York, and he had just moved here too.
The first time I met Lou, and not that he will remember meeting me, but the only time actually I met Lou was we did a show at the Kitsch Bar hosted by Matt Cole in Costa Mesa, and he has this joke where he says he says what's he saying? Oh, he said his dad says mi hijo es moreno, and he just said that and it just made me laugh. I didn't even hear the rest of the joke. I just thought it was so funny that this guy that I thought was American was saying that, and yeah, I don't know.
Lou,
He's
it's
hilarious.
funny how
He's a funny guy.
Lou can never do an Argentinian accent.
No,
Like when he does his dad's accent in a joke, he sounds Mexican. And honestly, to this day, I have
Argentinians
never
don't
found
like.
someone Mexicans or the accent being confused.
Neither.
Because I love Mexicans.
I love Mexicans.
Mexican food is some of my favorite. They're not Chileans, so I like them.
Yeah. I've even posted videos about
and
my whole
also I have
movie is
a
a
lot
love
of-
letter to Mexico. So yeah.
Exactly. I have a lot of respect for Mexicans, and this is something I always say too, because Argentina is so like fucked up that Argentinians immigrate to Mexico.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
That's how you know.
yeah, that's how you know.
They're like
that.
they're like
We go there.
Haitians. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And every time that somebody tries to do an impression of me or any Argentinian, like they can't get the accent right.
Do you want to try?
You
You want to do a Peruvian accent and I do an Argentinian accent?
I cannot do Peruvian accent.
Got it.
I cannot. I have lots of Peruvian friends. Roberto, if you're watching this, hi. We had an argument today. I love you still. And I do not know. I can do Chilean. You know, Chileans like they
It's a terrible accent.
they
It's a
sound
horrible
like
accent.
they're they got their balls with their.
They sound like a
zipper.
Jay Leno. You know? Yeah, they sound so like they're in a hurry to like.
Jane Lamo.
Yeah. They're like running out of
Yeah.
air or something. Yeah.
Chileans like they always sound like this. I love
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal. Wait a second though. Like these are all jokes. I love Chileans, but like
I
and
don't.
especially now Pedro Pascal. Pedro Pascal, dude. Like he's I love Pedro Pascal and like
Honestly, listen, it's not that I don't like him, all right? But why do people, I don't understand why people think he's so handsome. I don't get it. But it gives me hope.
Because he has a non-threatening brown face.
I think that's what it is.
So gringos are like a brown
No, but it
person.
gives
I
me
know
hope.
I cannot
you know,
hear.
when I see like a Brad Pitt, I'm like, okay, I could
He's
never
very
pull that off.
paternal.
Huh?
He's very paternal.
Who is?
Pedro Pascal.
Like he looks like a daddy, you mean?
Yeah, he plays a daddy everywhere.
That's right.
And he's just a nice guy, and everybody loves him.
No, he seems awesome. Like he seems like a nice dude. But I don't, and he gives me hope that, oh, dude, I can pull that off. I can be that good looking. Am I crazy?
I mean, you can believe whatever you want. I don't think he's a hot guy in a traditional sense. Again, I think he's a non-threatening brown guy, so gringos like that.
Yeah. And in South America, he would not be considered a brown guy.
In Chile, maybe, yeah. He looks very Chilean. He looks very Chilean.
You think so?
Yeah, that's a very Chilean face. Which is funny because and this is something that I think all the time. Why don't Argentinians never play Latinos on TV? Did you notice that?
Well, you're too white.
Anya Taylor-Joy never plays a Latina.
You're too white. You're too white to play a Latino.
Viggo Mortensen has never played a Latino. Viggo Mortensen is Argentinian. Did you know that?
Yeah, I didn't know that. When you hear them speak Spanish, it's such a trip, you know. But you guys are not even you're just white, like light. No, you're white as in, you know.
I guess.
Blue eyes or whatever. Like.
But you have green eyes.
I have green eyes. Yeah. But I feel. First of all, I could play like a Middle Eastern guy, probably, you know.
Wait, Taboada isn't that like an
Portuguese?
Okay,
cool. But I think that's what it is. I think at one point I was actually looking to cast like a Latin woman for my movie, and you suggested some Argentinian actresses, and I was like, bro, these are like blonde girls with blue eyes. I can't do anything with it, you know.
I had an issue many times when I was casting commercials that I was writing, and I needed to cast them, and I got a good actor who was white, but they were speaking perfect Spanish because they were Argentinian many times. And my clients would be like, we can't have these people playing Latinos. But I was like, they're literally Latinos.
Totally.
They're literally Latinos.
Totally. I completely agree with you.
My favorite new Argentinian that I just found out is Rory from the Gilmore Girls.
No way.
She's Argentinian.
Yes, I know this.
My wife just told me
my God,
day.
It blew my mind. When I heard her speak Spanish, it blew my freaking mind.
Yeah.
She's so cute.
Yeah.
I love her.
I love her. Huge crush. I now know why. She's one of my people.
Yeah. No, yeah. And she sounds like, that blew my mind too. I think
showing all this time.
I think just a side.
Like this,
just a side.
All this time, like you'd be like, I cannot respect this guy. It's not a cat. Maybe on camera, maybe it's a cat. Maybe they're thinking, does he have a cat on his lap?
Dude. Again, dude. I'm like, yeah.
CGI. Do you have CGI to cover it?
No,
I don't care.
I can crop it. I crop it. Yeah.
I have no shame.
What was I gonna say?
Unfortunately for my kids and wife, I have no shame.
How old are your kids now?
8 and 4.
8 and 4. Wow. Yeah. Damn. I remember 4. Yeah. What did I want to say? I think there's an American idea of what a Latino is supposed to look like, and Argentinians don't match that.
No.
Which is interesting. Here, I went to the Peruvian embassy one day, and I went in. And it was a bunch of people speaking Chinese, like 20 people speaking Chinese to each other. And I'm like, oh, I got the wrong embassy, you know? So I went outside. I'm like, no, it's the Peruvian embassy. And then one guy switched it, and they were all speaking Spanish with a thick-ass Peruvian accent. So you never know, man.
Well, I don't know when was the last time that you went to Peru, so I don't know how things are in Peru. But Argentina has always had a lot of Chinese immigrants. Argentina is like a melting pot. It's very much like the U.S. in that sense.
Yeah. And you guys have people that are also indigenous looking. You have those too.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't talk to them.
No.
but you
how did you guys survive? My family. This is a huge shame in my family, but my family had played a role in murdering a lot of natives. It's a horrible thing for my family that I take no pride in. But my mom.
But they do.
The name of the guy was General Wenceslao Paunero.
Oh my God! Sounds
like there's a street in Buenos Aires. It was always my mom's pride. It was like the guy in her family with a big, historical name. Mm-hmm. And she invited me once to this talk that a historian was giving at the military circle of whatever in Argentina. Mm-hmm. About this guy's life, and I go with my mom, and the guy starts going over this guy's life, and my mom is crying, emotional, and I'm like, Mom, this guy's pretty much our very own Hitler. Why are we celebrating this guy? Because everything the historian was saying was like, so then he went to the south, and he murdered all the Indians in the south, and then he went to Paraguay, and he murdered all the Indians in Paraguay, and then he was like, why are we celebrating this guy? He's the worst.
Yeah.
So I take no pride in my family being part of some horrible parts of the Argentinian history. But in Argentina, I was saying there's a lot of Chinese immigration, like a lot.
Yeah, we have like 1%, I think. We have a Chinatown and everything.
And we have a Chinatown very similar to the ones they have
here. And they were actually brought us kind of like slaves, really, like to work the guano islands. Yeah,
really?
Guano, yeah.
In Argentina, what I know is that they open grocery stores to the point where, like in Argentina, like neighborhood grocery stores are just called El Chino.
My God, when we go to a bodega, El Chino. El
Exactly.
Chino de la
Our
esquina.
bodegas in
El Chino de
Argentina
la
is El
esquina,
Chino.
yeah.
Because it's always run by Chinese people.
That's true.
And here's the thingy. The urban myth that I will never know if it's true or not is that they're all run by Chinese mafia families, and you can tell what family owns each grocery store, each chino, because of the colors of the gate outside.
Wow.
And it's very interesting how they all have a very distinctive
I
color
wonder if it's
depending on
same
the
for-
area.
That's fascinating.
And God knows if that's true or not, but you know,
I'll Google
believe the
it later.
legend. It's,
Yeah,
it's
I
always
will-
more fun.
I will
We tell
definitely
stories
look
after
into-
all, right?
yeah. I'll definitely look into it later. And I do, just because of time, because
Yeah.
you do have to leave soon. So you start doing stand-up here,
Yes.
right? When did you get into storytelling?
So when I started doing stand-up here, one of the first pieces of feedback I got from a lot of people was like, "Frank, you're not telling jokes, you're telling stories." And I was like, "So is
Which is
Mark.
fine.
So is Mark Bibiglia.
Yeah.
What is the issue here?" And one of my comedy buddies, Jessica Lee Williamson, who ended up writing for F is for Family and like I'm Dying Up Here, she ended up writing for a bunch of big shows like that. She was a big Moth person. She was a host. And she was teaching a workshop, so I went with her and I wrote my first couple of stories. And then I just went to the Moth one night for the first time and I won. And I came back
Wow.
a second time and I won again.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh. And people were laughing hysterically.
Was the first time like an open mic, Moth?
The Moth Story Slam competition is an open mic technically. You
Okay.
sign up and then the team of judges, the teams of judges are always just people from the audience. It's not like it's a...
Yeah.
I gotta become clean here. It's not like it's a team of professional judges who are like, I know about storytelling. It's just whoever shows up and wants to judge you,
Yeah.
which in LA is very easy to find,
I'm sure. Yeah.
judges the stories. And the first time that I went again, I won. The second time I won, and people were laughing so hard. And I was like, I think I found a new thing. And that's when I did sort of a switch to storytelling from stand-up gradually. And for a couple of years, I was only doing storytelling. But then I started missing the stand-up, edge of just telling jokes and seeing what happens.
Yeah.
Because storytelling, it's only one story, and that is it. And also storytelling, like usually, like a show can be not just comedic. So
Well, I was just gonna say because I've seen a lot of those that are
Yeah.
not comedic. Also, much
Yeah.
even sad or whatever.
Yeah.
But do they compete against one another or?
No, it's one show can have everything in one show. I mean, and
that's
it's
what I'm
happened to
saying.
me that I go after somebody who just told a really sad story, and I come after them with like, here's a funny story,
Got
and it's
it,
like,
yeah.
shut up, you horrible man.
Yeah.
In fact, my show, A Real Man, it has a lot of very dramatic, serious moments because when you
Yeah.
do an hour of a storytelling-based show like this, and if you watch Mike Birbiglia, he's really funny, but there is more seriousness, more emotion in his shows too.
Yeah.
My show has a lot of more serious, dramatic moments.
Yeah.
Like I think that what I wanted people to take away is crying and laughing.
Yeah. And sorry to be plugging my own movie, but
It's your show. I mean,
no,
tell
but
me about it.
because I was thinking the same
By
thing.
the way, I'm a producer in your movie, so
You are
technically.
Oh,
I
you were-
got that credit technically.
associate producer.
Associate producer, I think.
Did you really?
I gave you some monies.
No, you didn't.
What do you mean no?
What are you talking about?
When you were doing the GoFundMe,
GoFundMe. I've never done a GoFundMe.
how
for
did
my
you end up
thing.
being an associate producer?
You're
You
not.
you told me this.
No, I didn't. What are you talking about?
Okay, so here's the thing. I've done, like I said before, drugs have been a huge part of my life.
They're not anymore.
And I don't, kinda.
Yeah.
I have kids now, so I stick to marijuana mostly.
Got it.
But my memory is broken.
Yeah. You've never given me any money, just so you know.
You never had a GoFundMe?
I've never had a GoFundMe. That's the whole thing.
Then how did you once tell me that I had a credit? You once told me this.
I said you did the special thanks.
The special
Because you tried to give me that
thanks.
because you tried me to give me that Argentinian girl. So definitely not a producer, but special thanks. And he never gave me money.
Narcissist, egocentric Argentinian who's like, oh, this Peruvian is making a movie.
Hold on.
I'm his fucking producer.
How much money did you give me in your
Probably $50.
That's amazing.
It's like when I donate to people's GoFundMe, like my average is $50.
Yeah. Thank you for
So I
thinking
always
of doing
assumed,
that.
like, when you came back to me with like, you're in the, I was like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I-
I have a merch store. You can buy something for $50
But then
if
again,
you
you know,
want.
we live in LA. A lot of people are doing things like this, so I
Yeah,
forget
yeah.
who's GoFundMe I
I get
supported.
it. No, you're
So my
there-
mind is finished writing the story that I want.
Yeah, got it. You're in the end credits, and I thank you because you send me like an editor to work with, and you send me
Manu,
like a
probably.
huh?
Manu Dondas.
Maybe I couldn't afford him, so and that's fine.
I bet he's really freaking good.
Yeah, I couldn't afford him.
Yeah.
So and then you send me an actress to play the girl part, and I couldn't afford her either. So there you go. I'm kidding. I never contacted her because she just didn't have the
she was
look.
too white.
Too white. She didn't have the look I was going for.
I can't remember who that was.
Yeah. Because my lead actor is already like kind of light skin, and I wanted something more opposite to him.
Whitish.
Because I did want to explore that. My main character and like they're all white also. So, but I wanted to explore that. So she couldn't be also white. I wanted him to like do something different. Yeah. But what was I saying? Okay, so I make my movie, and same thing. People expected me to make a comedy, and I wanted to make a comedy, but then I was like, huh?
It's not. I haven't seen it yet.
It's a dramedy. Same
Oh,
thing.
okay, yeah.
So
That's my favorite genre,
So
honestly.
it has. I've realized that that's what I want. To me, I get as much pleasure as to make somebody cry as making somebody laugh. And I don't know, it feels more complete to me,
I agreed.
Yeah,
Most
yeah.
of my favorite movies are dramedies, and I think it's fun to make somebody laugh for an hour, but if you can go through the whole thing. And I did like a 30-minute test run in Argentina in Spanish of my show a couple of years ago.
That's crazy, yeah.
And the feedback that I got from a lot of people was like, dude, I was laughing and crying. So
That's
I was
awesome.
like, okay, it works.
What made you, so you've done the whole thing in Spanish already?
Not the whole thing, only a 30-minute first draft in Spanish in 23. And from that, I've been writing it and rewriting it. I worked with Matt Hoverman, who's a TV and theater writer, to develop the script. But before that, I worked with David Crabb, who's an amazing comedian and storytelling coach, who's a Groundlings director and performer, who coached me with a lot of the stories. And then I worked very little bit with Greg Wallach, who is Hassan Minaj's director.
Okay. That's amazing.
He was my creative consultant.
How did you get in touch with all these people?
So David, I know him from the storytelling world. Matt Hoverman, I met, also through the storytelling world.
And by the way, you have, I've seen some of your videos. You have great stories. Like
Thank you.
The first video I ever watched of yours was about drugs. So for sure. But it was fantastic. It was about you and your wife doing drugs. And it was fantastic.
Chris de la Cruz, who was the host of It's Funny Now, my storytelling show at The Crow, which is not alive anymore.
So hiatus or
yes.
not? Or is it dead?
We'll see.
We'll see. Okay.
Right now I'm focusing on this.
No, of
so
course.
Chris, when he hosted the show, every time that I told my story, he would be like, I don't know much about Frank, but I do know that every story he tells, there's something about drugs involved at some point.
Yeah.
It's my pastime. I'm really good at it.
Yeah. Well, your dad supplied
for
you.
A very young age. My dad supplied my wife. My dad supplied my mom. Gave them to me. And that's how I met my wife. Like one of the first things with my wife that we had in common, and I say this, if you look up, I have the story on YouTube too. Our first date, we only talked about what drugs we had done the most and how much we had loved them and done them.
Yeah.
And
do you love mushrooms? Do you love them?
I love it.
I love
LSD
mushrooms.
is my favorite. I've done
Really?
mushrooms
I've
a
never
couple of
done it.
times. We don't have mushrooms in Buenos Aires. That's why I never really did a lot of
right,
mushrooms.
yeah.
It's more difficult to find them.
Yeah. Have you been to Peru at all or not?
No. Peru was the next destination we were going to go before we ended up moving to the U.S.
Got it.
Because technically, okay, you want to hear something fucking crazy?
Yeah, of course.
And this is something that is, I'm a bit ashamed of telling this because I don't know how true
we can delete
it
it
is.
afterwards if you want.
My mom, on my mom's side, I'm technically the last descendant of Atahualpa's sister.
Shut up.
Atahualpa's sister, whose name I will never remember.
Me neither. He had a sister.
She had a sister. So here's the story that my mom always told us. Atahualpa's sister marries some Spanish ancestor of ours.
Okay.
I'm from Invisalign, so my S's are very Sean Connery.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm
I
fiction.
just seen it now.
Porteños do have the S very strong, but with the Invisalign, I'm basically Sean Connery from Argentina. So this guy comes from Spain, conquers Peru, and marries Atahualpa's sister, and then that's an eighth. It's when who was it? Warren is Elizabeth Warren when she said she was an eighth Native American.
Native American,
and it was like fuck off. That's basically me and my mom. But according to my mom, if you go to the Museum of the Inca in Peru, you look at Atahualpa's genealogical tree. The last name is my name.
The Traynor?
Francisco Enrique Ige Traynor, yes.
That's insane.
I have never been. I have
Yeah,
no
yeah.
proof. My mom told me because she went.
Yeah.
And she gave them the. She
Got
gave
it.
the
And
archaeologists.
your mom just wasn't into the.
My mom. So the movie Big Fish, I never liked it because my mom was a very big fish, and she was so drunk.
Oh, got it.
But she was amazing. But she was very big fishy. She had a lot of stories that I will never know if they were true or not.
Got it.
Which is why when Big Fish came out, I was like, "This is bullshit. I hate this movie. This hits too close to home."
Have you seen Garden State ever?
No.
Because it's similar. Like the dad is a psychiatrist and he gives medications to his son because he has them. I just thought it was a very interesting thing. I don't know. I love that movie too. I know your parents are no longer with us too, and that's a big part of your show, I'm guessing.
Yes, it is a big part of my show.
Is that okay to talk about?
Yeah. I mean, I hope it's not a huge spoiler, but my dad dies in the first half of the story, so it's not a big deal. My mom dies in the end. So
when do they actually die, chronologically speaking?
My dad died in 2003, and my mom died in 2009.
Fuck. Yeah.
Pretty close to each
Got
other.
it. And the only reason why I know this is because you do make fun of that.
I make fun. That's actually my show. The story that I tell in my show started in my first stand-up set, actually, as a small joke.
Yeah.
Because I started doing comedy mostly around how much I love making people feel uncomfortable when
Yes, you do.
when they ask me.
Yes, you do. This is what I remember. This is just from watching your stories on Instagram. You'll say things like, "This is why I feel comfortable asking," because you'll be like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad I'm an orphan," because it's always something like that.
Mother's Day. Oh my God. I love Mother's Day. I have nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, I gotta get something for my mom. I don't.
Well, for your wife now, though.
We don't believe. I work in advertising, and
You know that
my
it's a
wife has no
business.
feelings. So
I got it. So she's
but
perfect.
now that we have kids, it's different. And you probably know this too. Like after you
Yeah,
have kids,
I
that
wanna
changes
make
because your
Christmas
kid
for them.
cares. Something that I learned.
Exactly.
My son had Mother's Day was on Sunday. As you know, my daughter made something at school. My son couldn't go to school because he was sick.
Yeah.
And then my daughter wakes up and has like a letter and like a card and
you
whatnot.
have
And my
to.
son had nothing, and he got really
Poor guy.
upset.
Yeah.
So I found I found some flowers.
Yeah.
And I gave them to mom.
That's so sweet.
The flowers were left by a neighbor at our door.
Yeah.
For my wife for Mother's Day.
Your son just.
So I just took them and gave them to my son. Like, just tell mom
That's
they're
so
from you.
cute. That's so cute.
And my son even made up to my wife. Oh, mom, he's 4.
Yeah.
Mom, we went to Target to get you these flowers. Like he was fooling
I love
the
that.
lie.
I love that. Kids change you, man. I spend hours doing like Halloween costumes for my son now, like hours and hours.
But I love Halloween because we didn't have Halloween in Argentina for me growing up. For me, Halloween was something that I saw in movies and that I was like, I want to have
You guys don't do that?
No.
Really?
No.
In Peru, it's huge.
It's barely starting now to be a thing.
No, in Peru, it's huge. You know why? Because that's when poor kids get to eat. They get to have candy, So they put like trash bags and they grab like charcoal and they put it.
The blackface.
Yeah. No. It's like they put the
thing
kitty,
is, in Argentina,
the kitty
with
whiskers,
safety, with safety in Argentina, if somebody knocks on your door, you're not fucking opening it. You know what I mean? Like it's never gonna work because you're never gonna open the door to a stranger.
Yeah, we did it in our gated community, so.
Yeah, I do see that. Yeah. The gated communities, but again, it's summer, so it's like I don't know. It's a very fall.
October was it was starting to get warm.
It's spring. Yeah,
it's spring. Yeah. No, it was sad really because then you see all the poor kids coming from the mountains. And they're wearing trash bags, and they come to the door. They come into the gated communities.
You're making me laugh
it's
at
so
poor
sad.
kids.
It's so
You're
sad. No, it's so bad. It's so terrible, man. Then even like, oh my God, I'm not gonna delete this because I'm gonna feel bad about it. But it's like this part that I'm gonna say. Like I remember like giving less candy to the poor kids because I thought they were annoying.
I mean, you don't want them getting used to it, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And then what? They're gonna ask for it every day?
Exactly. Come on,
No.
dude. You put a trash bags on. Fuck you. This guy who goes to private school looks like Spider-Man. So he deserves more. So that's so bad. No, I was a terrible human being in Peru. I mean, I was just a product of my
Dude, you know what?
environment,
Most of my Peruvian parents are very, I'm not going to say terrible people, but like they are like pretty sassy. Let's just say sassy people, cheeky people.
No, but I was a terrible kid in Peru. Like we had mates and I did not treat them well.
Do you feel like I think it's a very Latin American thing to have maids, and in the US it's a very rich people who have maids. So I try to I stay away from saying that I had a maid. Our maid, she was like my second mom. She saw me grow up.
Yeah.
And she left after my dad died because we
Yeah.
couldn't afford her anymore. But like she was basically my second mom, and like we are still in
Yeah,
touch.
very common thing. Yeah, that's a very common thing. They become like a
She was like the nanny, you know, like the nanny.
Yeah,
She was
exactly.
basically like my the
Yeah.
nanny. She lived at home and like she was part of the family.
Yeah, becomes part of the family. Yeah. But then when the fancy party happens, it's like go to the kitchen, bitch.
Oh no, of course, yeah. Don't show up. And then the second she was gone because my dad died, I was like,
Put on your uniform.
No. It's a weird thing.
Yeah. It's terrible.
Especially coming from like my mom grew up with like calling the maids with the bell to then losing everything and being super poor to then having money again to have a maid.
It's funny.
So the journey in that sense was weird because like by then it was a very different way that
in Peru, I didn't meet anybody who didn't have mates, and if I did,
yeah.
But it was super rare, and it was like, fuck, they're struggling, you know, like
really poor.
Yeah. I was like, man, that's.
Otherwise, even a cleaning lady who just goes to clean and then leaves, you would.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was very strange. So you're doing great with all these stories. You know, you're getting these awards. When do you make the transition to the one-man show and being like, you know what, it's time to like, I want to make it bigger?
So I always saw Mike Birbiglia. He's like my big reference in this reference. Doing this entire shows with like one overarching story with a lot of small stories in between, and it was like I want to do that. Like I love that. And then living in LA, I found out about Fringe. First off, I started writing this, and I didn't know when and where I was going to do it. But like, I have a lot of friends who've done solo shows at Fringe, and it's a really good place to do a show for the first time like that because it's very it's independent theater, it's community based. There's a lot of which, in fact, from here I'm going to one of the every Wednesday at a bar. There's like a networking event. Yeah, where you just go and meet other artists and you become friends and you promote your show and they promote their shows and then you go see each other and become friends. And I was like, yep, that is the place for me to do this show. And I love big projects my whole life. Like with my bands, we were always very album based. Like we would be like, okay, we're going to work for 6 months on a new bunch of songs. Then we're going to go to the studio. Then we're going to put out an album. Then we're going to play that album. Then start the process over again. So my whole life I've been very project based. Yeah. And with stand-up comedy, I wasn't finding that. Even though you can do a special, but I feel like nobody here does a special in the first 5 years or something. But like with storytelling and comedic storytelling, there is a different place to do like a more theater kind of sort of show.
A one-man show,
one-man show type of thing.
Yeah, and your one-man show is called
A Real Man.
A Real Man.
It's about me trying to prove. So because I was so much younger than my siblings, they treated me like a baby. I never felt part of my family. So to show them that I was a part of them, I decided to show them that I was a real man from a very young age. So it's me trying to act tough my whole life, like I'm a real man, and failing spectacularly every time.
It's a play on I'm a Real Boy, right? From the Pinocchio,
exactly,
right?
Exactly. All the artists, me dressed as Pinocchio, which I'm not going to be dressed as Pinocchio on stage.
No, I didn't think so.
But I am going on stage to the sound of When You Wish Upon a Star, which legally I shouldn't because I can't afford it.
Got it.
And they told me to not fuck with Disney. And I'm like, why not? If I get a cease and desist, it's even funnier. And they're not gonna sue me. They're gonna just a lawyer that I talked to was like, dude, they're not gonna spend money on a lawyer to sue you. They're gonna send you, if anything, a cease and desist.
And then you stop.
Which is a fun. It becomes a good joke.
Yeah, totally.
Like, hey, I have this letter from Disney. Here's the show.
Yeah, totally.
So I'm doing all the art around Pinocchio, and it's around the whole thing. Yeah, I want to be a real boy, but I want to be a real man.
Which of the are you recycling or not recycling? Are you just incorporating any of the stories that I've heard before?
Yeah, I have done this, especially because I've been rehearsing, and I wanted to do stories, mostly stories that I knew worked already. So I've been working on the stories live for a couple of years, never put them together as one, unifying show. And the past 7 months, I have been doing all the stories individually in different shows to rehearse and see what jokes. Because mostly I want it to be funny, so I know the emotional part is easier to make it work. But the funny part is more difficult always, as you know.
Definitely, yeah.
So I've been mostly doing shows to try out the funny bits, to see how to adapt them and make them work better. And now it's a matter of putting it all into a 1 hour thingy and see how it goes.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
The big thing is selling tickets.
What?
Selling the tickets.
What about it?
That's the most difficult thing. I know that I can get on stage and tell it, and then selling the tickets 5 times is like, holy shit.
Because it's 5 different shows, right?
5 different shows.
Same number of seats each show?
Yeah, it's the same theater every time. It's a 41 seat. It's a small theater. It's a 41 seat theater. Got it.
Yeah. Dude, I think you can do it, man. I think you know how to do it. I mean,
I know how to sell a monthly show. I've done it. You've done that show.
Exactly,
I've done it with It's Funny Now and Graffiti for many years. I've been producing for like 10 years in LA. But 5 shows in 1 month, while at the same time I have to. It's me. It's not like I'm putting other people on stage.
That's
it's
true.
a lot of work.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know that I know enough people in LA, and I'm not famous.
Got it.
So I'm just counting on begging. I'm gonna be begging.
Did you talk to the embassy in the end?
I talked to the Argentinian consulate, and they offered me to share my flyer on their social media.
I did that too.
I have more followers than them, and I don't have that many followers. I have very few followers, but still more than them. So I don't know. Yeah, I hope they don't. If anybody from the consulate see this, I love you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Are you involved in the Argentinian community here at all? Because I wasn't until I started promoting my movie.
We are not a community people. You know what I mean? Like, you know what you see? Like it's not like I have a lot of Argentinian friends, but like my group of Latino friends, it's a mix of Argentinians, Mexicans, Chileans, Spaniards too, like Peruvians. It's not like we have the Argentinian community. Like, I don't know.
But I
we're
bet
we're too white to care.
That's true. That's true. Because you fit in too well. Yeah. So what you need to
well.
know each other.
Yeah, we don't give a shit.
You're not a dog person. You're not a dog person.
No, our family were cat people.
Yeah, because I just remember that your mom had a cat.
It's always been cats in our family.
That's
even
so
my
funny.
wife's family too. Like, it's always been
makes
cats.
sense. Like, I see you guys. You seem
We're
like
very
cat people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like, we'll be there, but we
yeah.
won't be there if you call me. Where's my food?
Yeah. Argentinians are the cat people of South America.
No.
They're the cats of South America. Yeah.
In fact, gato is a very Argentinian way of saying, yo, dude, gato.
Yes,
really?
Gato. Yeah. In Peru, people who look like cats, we call them cats too. Gato, ¿qué tal?
Gato.
Yeah. In Peru, but it makes sense, right? Peruvians are like dogs. Argentinians are like, don't touch me, Peruvian people.
Touch me. Oh my God. That's dirty.
Meow. I was the same way. I kind of like wasn't too involved, but then I did get involved for this to promote the movie. And they did come out, man. They came out because it's like, oh, one of us is performing or whatever. My mom sold like 40 tickets herself, but you don't have a mom, so.
Thank you for nothing. But if your mom wants to be my mom reputativa man.
Oh my God, reputativa. She's gonna love that.
That's a horrible word. It is reputation, like my mom by reputation. It sounds like.
Dude, congrats on your show.
Thank you.
I'm only ending this because of time. I know you have to go, but
I have to go network.
Yes. But the show is called A Real Man. It's going to be at the Hollywood Fringe Festival. He has 5 shows in the month of June. Please go check him out. This man is super talented. I can't wait to see it myself. I'm there opening night. I'm going to be there. So I'm so excited, man. Congratulations, dude.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Bring your mom.
What about my mom? Bring my mom. Yeah, I'm gonna ask her if she has Argentinian friends.
Cool.
There must be some. She only hangs out with white Latinos, so there should be one of them. Frank Traynor, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah.